Welcome into the Oklahoman's video studio. You know, a few months ago, or maybe it was a year and a half ago, we met you as you came into the studio. At that point, you were new to the position of Labor Commissioner. It is Labor Commissioner Melissa McLawhorn, Houston.
Yes.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
Busy days at the state capitol as the legislature, maybe or maybe not, winding down the session. But at that point, we were talking to you new to the role, and you were like, okay, here's my thoughts, here's what I'm getting into. So now a year and a half later, perhaps, what are your thoughts as Labor Commissioner?
I think it's just been an incredible opportunity. I have loved the job. I have loved the staff. We have an incredible team of people that are really dedicated to the safety of the public. And I came in with really an opportunity to reform an agency and to change the way we do business. And I've done some of that. But not kind of the fundamental structure. I mean, the staff are so good and so dedicated. I have done some incremental steps. I've spent a lot of time updating all of our regulations for each of our programs, for asbestos, for amusement ride safety, for elevator safety. I mean, I've spent some time on the policy side of things. And I think that one of the other changes that I would still like to see, that I'm frustrated I haven't been able to get there yet, is trying to raise some of those salaries actually of our staff, and that's something that I think is really left to do. So I've focused a lot on the policy side of things, the restructuring of the agency, what kind of laws need to be changed or enacted, and I mean it's been wonderful. It's been great.
Okay, you reported to succeed Mark Costello as
Yes.
Labor Commissioner. So this is a position, Labor Commissioner, that will come up for election in 2018. Will you run again? Will we see your name on the ballot?
I am not running, have no intention of running. As we talked about, I think last time,
Yep.
Our sons are middle schoolers. We have a soon-to-be upcoming 6th and 7th grader, and that's just really kind of not the time to check out and run statewide. So
You mentioned you had a 5th grader graduation this week.
5th grade graduation last night. couple little tears, a little elementary school farewell, but it was good.
So you're looking more towards family life, perhaps private sector stuff moving forward.
You know, it'll be interesting to see what I do next.
Attorney General's office, maybe?
I've done that
you came
for
from there.
a couple years, yeah, about 6 years there working for Scott Pruitt. And it was a wonderful position. Actually, you know, I've really been lucky in that each of the positions I've had have been really interesting, and they've taught me given me the opportunity to learn something new.
It's a good way of looking at things.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about amusement rides or elevators before I started here, or the Department of Labor, and I didn't know a lot about terrorism and Homeland Security before I started there. So I'm excited about whatever the next position will be. I'm sure it'll give me an opportunity to learn some more and hopefully help work towards good government and good policy.
Speaking of government, how has this session gone?
So the session, you know, it's a difficult time. Difficult time for the legislators, and I certainly would not want to be in their position. We have been lucky on the policy side of things. We had 3 different bills that we worked on this session. We had one in again, reforming the agency, going through the statutes. I identified a license that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, and there were only 3 people that were doing it, and oh, by the way, the same activity was regulated by the Insurance Commission, and so it just didn't make sense, so we repealed a license.
Okay.
Senator Adam Pugh, Representative Mike Osborne, I believe actually their first bills that they got enacted ran that legislation for us, and it's a great bill, good government, going to save a license, basically do away with a license, so that's good.
So that was the one bill. And
That
your
was
other
one
2 bills?
bill. We also had a bill on amusement ride safety that will allow us, and some of it actually came from my interview with you, where I was trying to explain the different levels of inspection that we have. And in current law, even though from a practical side, we treat rides different, in the statutes, they're not really treated differently. And so this bill created categories within the statute so that I feel it's a little bit more transparent with the public as far as what their expectations should be. So we worked on that. And then the final bill dealt with, we receive funding to help make worker safety protections. We have our OSHA consultation program for the private sector, where they can come and ask us to come in and do an OSHA inspection, and we do that free of charge, confidentially. We also have a similar program for public employees, but that is funded off of workers' compensation losses. Unfortunately, under current law, it was only for the Court of Existing Claims workers' comp system, and so we ran a bill to also put that on the administrative workers' comp system. So again, effects. So all three of those, good government, they had a lot of support of the legislature. They've gone to the governor's desk, and so we should be in good shape.
There have been some late nights at the state capitol the past couple nights. Have you been up there, or have you been tuning in?
So Christina Foss in my agency that has been spending a lot of time up there. So I haven't had to go up too much, but I've gone up just from time to time, hopefully to try and encourage people as much as possible. It has been some late nights for them, and I have kind of nerded out and listened to it online a little bit, I will admit. But yeah, it's a difficult job, and my best wishes and thoughts go out to them in trying to wrestle through this situation that we have.
All right, you mentioned amusement park rides, and of course, last year we see the roller coaster at Frontier City. Hey, it's stuck.
Yeah.
People are rescued. We're in good shape. Inspections are made. It did what it was supposed to do. We saw a few weeks ago, hey, the same thing happened, but again, the emergency features of that ride kicked in. It did what it was supposed to do. Any thoughts on that roller coaster, amusement park rides, and stuff that your office will be doing this summer in relation to kids having fun, amusement parks?
Yeah. Well, again, amusement rides are one of those industries where the regulation is pretty interesting. We are one of only about 30 states that even regulate amusement rides. So a lot of states don't have any inspections at all. Even within those 30 states, a lot of those just require an insurance policy, just a proof of insurance policy, and that's it. They don't have what Oklahoma has, which we have that, and we have state employed inspectors who go out on scene and work with the amusement ride industry. I've spent an enormous amount of time, again, being the mom of two boys that are 11 and 12. This was an area that I really wanted to learn about and see how we could make it better. And so I've spent a lot of time with industry, working through all of our regulations to see what maybe is outdated, what needs to be updated, what are we doing right, what can we do better. And I've had the same conversations with our staff. And so it's been a very open dialogue with industry and with our professionals. And so I'm very excited about the regulatory environment that we're creating for amusement rides. It really is a partnership. It is not something that we can do on our own at the Department of Labor. It takes all of us. And the owners, Frontier City, Whitewater, Andy Alligators, we have some really good owners in the state who do a really good job. And we're doing our part as well. Our inspectors, we have some incredibly impressive inspectors who've worked really hard and been through a great deal of training, some of the best in the country right here in Oklahoma. So we're doing our part. The operators, again, oftentimes you're dealing with teenagers who may be operating these rides.
Sure.
It's a summer job, and they've had their training, but it also takes the parents and the patrons doing their part. One of the biggest issues, fascinating to me, but one of the biggest issues that continues to confront the ride industry is you must be this high to ride.
So you're bringing in little Johnny at this point. Little Johnny may be standing on his tiptoes. I am 48 inches or whatever that may be. That is an issue.
That is an issue. It is the number one issue that faces is amusement ride parks. Because the you must be this high to ride isn't about the maturity level of the child. Which honestly is something that I kind of thought, this means this is a big scary ride, or this means this is a kid ride. It's actually not. That is an engineering schematic about the restraint system. And so if your body is not that many inches, the restraint system and the ride as designed will not do its job.
It's just not built for a smaller individual.
Exactly. And so it is so important for parents to not tell their kids to stand on their tippy toes and spike their hair and accost the operator and demand that their little child can ride because he can handle it. It's about protecting the child. And so we've been distributing coloring sheets in the schools to remind the kids, you must
Setting
be
some
this
education.
direct.
Hey,
Exactly.
here's the guidelines and here's why.
Exactly.
Doesn't really have to do anything with you specifically. It is for everybody's safety,
Mm-hmm.
including that individual's safety.
So we can all have a great, fun, and safe summer.
All right, for the Labor Commissioner's Department, what else will you guys be doing this summer?
Well, we'll continue. We'll continue certainly in amusement rides doing our inspections. This is our busy time of year, going from now into fall, which is fair season. So we will have that going on. We'll be continuing our elevator inspections, our boiler inspections, our asbestos abatement that we do, welding inspections. We continue to do a lot of licensing with alarms and locksmiths, sprinkler systems, other licenses, occupational licenses that we work on. In fact, I'm chairing a task force trying to examine occupational licensing in the state of Oklahoma to determine how that system is working and are there changes that needed to be made and make those more efficient. Hopefully we'll be having some meetings this summer and starting to put together some recommendations by the fall. So that'll be busy. And then we continue to have our wage and hour division doing incredible work, helping employees who may not have been compensated. And so they're doing incredible work there. I think we had about 500,000 claims last year that we processed. And so
Wow.
It's a lot of people that we touch and impact in that area. And then finally, our workers' safety continues to be a huge priority for the agency. For private employers, again, we are a resource. It is voluntary. It is free of charge. Unfortunately, we're developing a little bit of a waiting list on our consultation program because it's been so popular amongst the private sector, where we can come in and do an OSHA inspection and basically hand it over to them so they can make those investments in worker safety up front. It's been very popular. And then for the public employers, we do that as well. And so that is an area, worker safety continues to be an issue. We continue to lose about 90 Oklahomans a year to workplace death.
Wow.
Which is just entirely too high. And so that is something that we're going to continue to work to bring down and hopefully bring in some more consultants from the different industries to work with us.
One thing you just mentioned there sort of reminded me of something we previewed perhaps the last time we spoke. Was there not a federal overtime law or something that businesses were going to have to consider at that point? Is there an update on that? Or?
I haven't actually seen an update in a while. The election tends to
changes a few things,
influence some of that, and so I think the last I had seen that there was an injunction and a permanent injunction that had been granted. The case we were really following was out of Texas, and I believe that is still in front of the court. What happens oftentimes in a transition administrations, we see it at the state level as well, that you will see some of that rulemaking might not be enforced in the same way, might be withdrawn, might be rewritten, and so I'm wondering if the court may just be waiting to see administratively what happens.
Interesting. You also mentioned that of the things you'll be doing later this year, it seems like there's a lot of staff involved statewide on these inspections. On the budget bills that have been proposed, introduced late last night, how would an 8% or a 5% cut to state agencies perhaps affect your department?
Well, you will never hear me say that the state of Oklahoma, that the Department of Labor is not going to do their job, because we are going to do our job. Unfortunately, we will not do it as quickly as I would like us to. And that is the real impact of budget cuts. And I mean, look, I get it. We're not prison guards, the challenges DOC is facing, or DHS. I mean, those are, very, very challenging concerns. And so I get that. But the effect that those cuts have on us, is really twofold. One is in the time. So, for example, when we had the incident on the roller coaster, we had 2 inspectors who were in Guyman, and we had 2 inspectors who were in Tulsa. And that's the entire state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so there's really not a whole lot we can do until, the magic transporter machine exists. That's just the reality of it. The second problem that I see in the budgets as far as impacting our agency is the salary levels of the employees they continue to be where I am not happy with them. I feel like we need to be paying people more, and I feel that it is an investment that the state should be willing to make. So for example, boiler inspector, it's a great example. We start them off, I think 38,000 maybe. They go up to maybe 40, but it costs us $100,000 and 18 months of time to train them to become nationally board certified inspectors. So it's a significant investment that the state is making in these people. And the minute they become nationally board certified, within about 30 days, they receive a call from the private sector at literally double the salary.
Now they're certified, but they can get a bigger salary someplace else.
Exactly. Now, we're never going to be able to match the private sector dollar
Sure.
for dollar, but if I can raise those salaries up high enough, combined with state benefits and the state environment and the desire for public service,
Yeah, there's a lot of upside to working for the state.
there's
no
a lot
question.
of upside. Then hopefully we can become more competitive and stop that revolving door that is taking place. And so it is frustrating to me when we talk about budget cuts and we need to be doing more. It's not just maintaining, and it's not just how bad the cut is. I feel like we're not making the investments in our state employees that we need to be making, in our state infrastructure that we need to be making. And I know it's frustrating for the legislature, and it's frustrating for us trying to implement those changes. And so hopefully moving forward, having kind of that long-term vision on where it is we want to go would help all of us.
Interesting stuff. Always good to chat with you.
Absolutely.
I know
Thank you.
You are busy this week, so thank you for taking time during your lunch to come sit at our desk and
Of course.
chat with us. Fun summer ahead for the kiddos?
I think so. We've been kind of coming up with all kinds of camps and activities and things for them to do during the summer. And so hopefully it'll be a good summer and we'll enjoy it.
Commissioner Houston with the Oklahoma State Department of Labor. Good to see you. Enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.